A story we have been following, the Uber versus Waymo trial. A computer forensics expert delivered some of the most troublesome evidence yet. In the trial, the expert's firm was hired by Uber to vet Anthony Lewandowski, and their findings revealed that Lewandowski had Google source code, engineering documents, and self-driving software. As the trial continues, it will be up to the jury to decide if those trade secrets made their way into Uber after Lewandowski was hired. Well, all this week we've been talking to guests and sharing stories and themes that I cover in my new book, Brotopia, Breaking Up the Boys Club of Silicon Valley, now in stores. We've been talking about everything from hiring practices to workplace culture that is shaped by the leaders at the top of the companies in technology and how to bring about real change in the workplace for women. Techonomy CEO David Kirkpatrick is here. He has read the book, and I am so excited to talk to you about it and hear what you think, because you've been covering Silicon Valley for decades.
It's super good. I mean, I just reading, asking myself, did she see all this? I mean, your timing could not be better. You kind of must have just intuited that this stuff was coming, because I know when you started writing it, because we were talking about it, and it was a while ago, but you are releasing it into the thick of a social obsession.
Honestly, I realize the timing is good now, but I had no idea that, you know, women in tech and women in business would become like a breaking news story. I started writing this 2 years ago, before Trump, before Susan Fowler, before the Me Too movement, but I certainly benefited from that momentum. And I, obviously I've been covering Silicon Valley for a long time, and people would always talk about sexism, but no one would ever want to talk about it on camera, and that was the problem. It was trying to get people to tell their stories, and I realized nobody really understands sort of how and why we got here. And the more I started digging, the more I realized, wow, there's a lot people don't know.
I mean, and just as a reader, a man, an older white man, to summarize, it's shocking the number of stories you're telling and the number of statistics you reveal about really how bad it is. I mean, the statistic, what was it, 807% more women drop out of tech jobs than other kinds of engineering jobs than other kinds of jobs. I mean, that's almost a ludicrous percentage.
Right, and those women are not leaving work. They're going to work in other fields.
Yeah, they're leaving tech.
They love their jobs. In fact, they actually say they love their work, but they also say that the environment is hostile. I think a lot of people blame some of the attrition that you see in technology on women leaving to have kids, but it's actually not the case. They want it. They want to keep working. What
about this amazing thing that I confess I didn't realize in all the many years I've spent in tech, that none of these companies have childcare on site? I mean, that Apple just opened a brand new $5 billion campus with all of these amenities and gyms and yoga hall, as you pointed, a 2-story high yoga ceiling, and they don't have childcare? I mean, in New York, that kind of thing became pretty common a long time ago in other industries.
No, it is fascinating. I realized childcare can be complicated, but these are also companies that have, created these tricked out buses that are shuttling, hundreds and thousands of employees to work every single day. They have these amazing perks, from the free food to these incredible, health benefits, gym clothes that you can wash at the office. And, so I just thought, why not childcare? Other companies offer it, and, certain Silicon Valley hasn't shied away from hard problems. But that was sort of more of a thought-provoking thing, just to sort of put it out there, what is possible.
But it's obviously an issue. If tech has a woman problem, they don't have enough women, and they don't have childcare on site. I mean, no wonder. I mean, these things are directly connected, and you connect those dots. But do you think, I mean, I don't know, even based on the early reaction to your book, that things like that will be remedied in coming months and years?
I really just want this to start a meaningful conversation and to make people think. And it's interesting, I was talking to Patty McCord, who ran HR at Netflix for a really long time and has thought about these issues so much. And at first she was like, well, childcare, it's expensive, it's hard. And then she read the book and she said, you know what? We should do that.
Great.
We should do that. So, of course, I'm hoping for that reaction from more people. Sheryl Sandberg was also on the show earlier this week, and talking about this new mentorship initiative that she's launching in response to the Me Too movement. And one of the things, I write about her in the book is that when she got to Facebook, she started asking questions about content that was getting left up on the site, violence towards women. And these were questions that nobody was asking. And I do think that's why, Facebook has a better handle on the online harassment and trolling problem in Twitter. And at the same time, Ev Williams, the co-founder of Twitter, told me that he thinks if more women were on the team early on, that online harassment and trolling maybe wouldn't be such a problem. Women are the victims of the more extreme forms of harassment. And, you know, Ev told me they weren't thinking about this when they were building the product.
Well, one of the great narratives right now about tech is that somehow it's gone off the rails and didn't anticipate some of its own implications for society, whether it's an addiction or political manipulation. Do you think that if there had been more diversity there, a variety of sorts, and especially women, that might have made it a little easier for those companies to anticipate some of these very toxic effects that we're now criticizing them for? Absolutely.
I mean, I think people from, you know, a wide variety of backgrounds, you need all kinds of people making these products that billions and billions of people used. I actually asked Sheryl Sandberg this question. I want you to take a listen to what she had to say.
Do I think Silicon Valley would be a better place if there were more women running more companies? Absolutely. I think every industry would be a better place if there were more women running more companies and more women in government.
And I agree.
Yeah, and quite impressive you got her to talk to you about that. I mean, she is an exemplary, you know, rarity, really, to have that level of power and you know, having had a lot of influence. But I just have to say, what an amazing job. And it is, for me, a little horrifying that I didn't realize how bad it was. And, you know, all my women friends would say, well, you're just a typical idiot guy. But
you're not alone. You're not alone. Thank you, David.
But thank you for writing it.
Thank you.
I think it's a major piece of journalism that is beautifully written. So I'm sure it's going to do great.
Thank you. And thanks for reading it. And you were a huge support to me throughout the process as an author yourself. It is a long process, so you need as many people cheering for you.
You did a great job.
As possible.